Okay, so now in this video we are let's integrate the forms, okay, that we created in previous videos. So we have registration form, we have a login form. Now what I have done so far is I will just give you an overview. I created a form so that user can enter his or her details, and here I'm just fetching those values and storing them inside a variable. This is what I have done so far in the registration file. In the login file, I just created a form. Okay, I gave two fields to the user, username and password, and I'm just storing the values that user has entered in a variable. And even I have created a table inside the database programming. The table looks something like this. It has four columns: name, email, password and gender. So now let's integrate it. So what I will do, inside the file register.php, I'm going to store all this data inside the table. So I will just say, first let's establish a connection. So I will just say $connection is equal to mysqli underscore connect. And here I will simply say localhost. Username is username is root, sorry. Password is blank, and the database is programming. Because I always say, whenever you want to work with PHP and MySQL, the very first step is the connection. You need to connect your PHP to MySQL. Then only you can fire queries and do all those operations. Now I will just say if $connection, then I will simply say echo connection has been established. Else I would say a connection is not established. So first I'm just checking whether connection is established or not. Okay. So first step is done. Now second step is I will just I need to store these values, right? So what I am doing is I will just say $query, and my query will be insert into, table name is registration, as we all know, registration. And the column names, let's give out the column names as well. First is name, then we have email, then we have password. Okay, I'll just check it. Name, email, password and gender. Okay, so gender. Then we have values. Values are, let's pass the variables directly: name, password, email and gender. So here I will just say dollar name, then we have dollar email, then we have dollar password. Okay, it should be inside quotes, single quotes, and then we have dollar gender. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just passing an insert query. Means in order to insert data we need to fire insert query, and that is what I'm doing. So these are the column names and these are the values that I want to store inside these columns. Now the next step is to execute this query. So we all know, I will just say if mysqli underscore query, we use this function, and I'll pass two parameters. First is the connection, second is our query. And if the query is successfully executed, then I will simply say echo data has been inserted, br. Else I would say echo data has not been inserted. Okay. So I think everything looks perfect. Okay. And what I will do is now I will just run this. Let's run this file register.php. So I'll just go to register.php. Okay. So this is my form and let's now enter the value. So I'll just say name as Kevin, email as kevin@gmail.com. Password let's give as Kevin only, and I'm male. Array- Okay, I'll again say kevin@gmail.com. Password let's give it as let's keep the password as Kevin, and then we have gender as male. Okay. Okay, wait. We are getting something. Okay, so what I will do is let's check whether everything is inside the. Okay, so now I will just click on this submit button. Okay, let's click on the submit button. Okay, so it says connection has been established and data has been inserted. So I'll just check. I will just reload this so that I can see the values. Okay, so there are actually some mistakes. Okay, so what I will do is here I'm not getting a perfect value on gender. Okay, so I will just say here. Okay, I forgot to mention, okay, you all, that when you make use of gender, sorry, the radio buttons, you even have to pass a value, what value you want to store. So in case of male, I will just say male, and in case of female, I will just say the value that should be stored is female. Okay, now I will just go and once again let's register. I will just say okay, before inserting I will first delete these two values. Okay, so for that I will just go here. I'll go to SQL and here I will say delete from table name is registration. I'm just saying delete from registration, so all the rows will be deleted. Okay, so we will insert the fresh values. Okay, so I'll just again show you. I'll just go to the table registration and there are no current values. Okay, now let's register. I'll just say Kevin. Email, let's keep it as kevin@gmail.com. Password Kevin, and let's keep the it as mail. Okay, one more thing I forgot to reload. Okay, we need to reload as well. Continue. Now let's say Kevin at the rate gmail.com, password Kevin, and let's say mail. Okay, now I'll just click on submit. Okay, so it says connection has been established, data has been inserted. So I'll just go to my admin and let's reload this. Okay, so the data has been inserted. Okay, you can just ignore this value. Okay, don't see this value. We will just let's look at this. So the value has been successfully inserted. Okay, now what I will do next is inside the login.php file, let's compare, let's fetch the value and let's compare it with the value that user has entered. So I'll just say here connection, let's make the connection mysqli underscore connect, and here I will simply say localhost slash the username is root, password is blank, and the database name is programming. Now I will just I'm just making the connection. Okay, I'm just saying dollar connection. If it is established, then I will simply say connection has been established. Else I will say else echo connection has not been established. Okay. Now the next step is query. So what I will do is I will just fetch this row. Okay. I'll just show you. I will just fetch the everything from this table: name, email, password, and gender, and I will just compare it with the username and password that the user has entered. I'm just checking whether the user is already registered or not. If the values match, that means the user is already registered and I will give him the permission. Else, I will redirect him to the registration form. Okay, that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say select star from registration where name is equal to username. Okay, it should be dollar user, right? And password should be dollar password. Okay, so this is my query. I'm what saying select all the data, means all the columns from this table where name is equal to dollar username and password is equal to dollar password. That is what I'm saying. Okay. Now the next step is I will execute this query. So I'll just say if mysqli underscore query, and it takes two parameters, the connection and the query. Okay. And here I will simply say while mysqli underscore fetch underscore assoc. And one more thing, I will store this in a variable called result, like this. Just pass this variable dollar result and I will store that inside the another variable dollar row. Okay. Now I will just say here if dollar username equal to dollar row, and here I will simply say name, and okay, we will just say and dollar password is equal to dollar row whole pass. Then I will simply say echo user is registered. Here it should be. Else I will simply say echo user is not registered. So basically what I'm doing is firstly I'm fetching the data, okay, where username is equal to this and password is equal to this. Now once that row is fetched, I'm just comparing whether these two values are equal. If it is matching, that means user is already registered. Else I'm just saying echo user is not registered. Okay, so what I will do is I will just go to login.php file. Okay, I'll just go here, and here I will simply say username and password as Kevin. Kevin, Kevin. Let's click on submit now. Okay, so it says connection has been established, but one thing to note here, actually, we are just getting this statement connection has been established, but we are not getting any result for the query. So let's look at it. I guess there is some mistake in the query. Select star from registration where name is equal to, let's keep in the quotes, and password is equal to dollar for password. Let's keep that inside the quotes, because sometimes MySQL does gives us this error, because if the variables are not inside the quotes, we might get this error. Okay, so let's go and let's reload this. Okay, user is registered and user is registered. So what I will do is I will first go to register.php, and now let's go to login.php. Okay, and now I will again register Kevin, Kevin. And now when I click on submit, then let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm getting connection has been established and user is registered. Now why it is giving me two times? That is because you must have noticed we have two columns where username and password is Kevin. So it is fetching two rows at a time, means it will fetch all the rows where username and password is Kevin, means yeah, whatever user has entered. So in our case there are two rows, so that's why two times this statement is getting printed. See, if I just remove one row, see, if I just delete this row, let's delete it. I'll just say delete from registration where gender is equal to on. So one row will be deleted. I'll just okay. Okay. I'll just show you the registration table. So now there is only one row where name and password is Kevin. So I'll go here and I'll just okay. Let's again check. I will say Kevin. Now only one time it will be printed. So I will just say submit. Okay, and it says connection has been established and user is registered. So this is the way you can implement registration and login system. You must have seen all these functionalities on many websites like have Facebook, YouTube, and many other platforms as well. So this is what actually happens at the backend. Okay, first in the registration form, we took the values from the user and we stored it inside the table. In the login file, we took the username and password from the user, and we just fetched all the data where username and password is the value that user has entered. So all the rows will be fetched, and I'm just checking if these both are equal, that means user is registered, else user is not registered. Okay, so this is how you can implement registration and login system in your project. And that is all for today's video. Thank you.